wonderful story in 2 Kings 6. You have the king of Syria who is trying to set a trap for the king of Israel. And several times he sets a trap, but there is a prophet by the name of Elisha who tells the king of Israel what the king of Syria is going to do before he even knows it. Well, after about 3 times, the king of Syria, he kind of gets upset. And he said, who is the betrayer here? Who's the spy? And they said, there is no spy. There's a guy in Israel that knows what you're going to do before you know it. He said, let's go get him. And so they said it raised an army. They marched all night and they surrounded the small city of Dothan where Elisha lived. And so think about this. It was a small city, had some kind of a small wall there, but probably not too much. And so they get up in the morning. It says the servant of Elisha goes out to get water and he sees people up along the wall. And he goes to see for himself and there's an army there. And it scares him to death when the commander says, we will spare the city if you will send out Elisha. And the guy drops his water and he runs as fast as he can to see Elisha, who's getting up and reading the morning paper or whatever he's doing. And he walks in and he says, you can't believe, the Syrian army's out there. And Elisha says, just cool down, calm down. What's the deal? He said, Elisha, they came for you. And Elisha said, let's go see. And they go out and stand on the wall there. And the commander is out there. And he says, we will spare the city if you send out the prophet called Elisha. And Elisha's just standing there all cool, calm, and collected. And his servant is tense. He's stressed out. And if you read it in verse 16, Elisha looks over him. He says, fear not. There's more with us than there are with them. And his servant says, hold on a minute. I'm not a mathematician, but I can estimate a little bit. Right out front there's about 5,000 soldiers. Over here, I kind of checked around. There's about 2,000 over there, 2,000, and there's 1,000 at the back gate to make sure we don't try to sneak out of the back. So how can you say there's more with us than there are with them? And in 17, don't you know this was cool? Elisha, I don't know if he looked up in the sky or whatever, he said, Lord, would you please open his eyes? And it says the Lord opened the eyes of Elisha's servant. And when he looked behind the Syrian army, he saw the infantry made up of the angels of God. When he looked to the hills, he saw the cavalry made up of the angels of God. When he looked in the sky, he saw the Air Force made up of the angels of God. If there is one answer to a prayer I could have, it would be, God, open our eyes where we can see the very presence and understand the power and give us faith to carry out the purposes that God has for us in our life.